Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Vicious Rants. I'm your host, the often imitated, never duplicated, one and only Tim Vicious. And this is a special edition episode because if you're on the East Coast like me, you're more than likely feeling the effects of Hurricane Sandy. And before I go on with the show, I just want to say right now, please do what you have to make sure you're okay. Do not go and do anything crazy or stupid. If you get told you need to go to a shelter, go to a shelter. See this right here? See this bag right here? This is my old shit bag. I already got a couple days worth of clothes packed, prepped, and ready to roll. So that way if I gotta go, all I gotta do is just grab that and move. Now then, this episode's going to be about Hell in a Cell mostly, and I'm going to throw in some of Raw. Before I talk about Hell in a Cell, I just want to bring up one thing on Raw. If you watched it, you know Beth Phoenix wound up getting fired, but more than likely her contract ended. Either way, Beth, we're going to miss you, girl. Hell in a Cell was actually pretty decent in my opinion. I was actually pretty impressed. I don't think it was like a wow, oh my god sort of thing, but I thought it was pretty good. Kept a scorecard for everything, just that way I remembered what to talk to you guys about. The first match of the night was Orton versus Del Rio. Now, they had a pretty okay feud going for a little bit, but big problem with it is Del Rio's character. You know, it's way too two-dimensional. And honestly, they just need to build him up better. You know, instead of making him like this big, rich, wealthy Mexican aristocrat. Anyways, after that, it was the tag match, Rogue Scholars versus Hell No. Before I go on about the match, speaking on behalf of the Fallen Angels, the tag team champions of Twitter, would like to apologize for if anyone was expecting to see me and my partner Jim Steele come out and beat Kane and Daniel Bryan, and thus unifying the WWE tag team titles with our Twitter tag team championships. Rogue Scholars wound up winning by disqualification. That's why we chose not to go out there. So we're gonna let Hell No lick their wounds. Rest assured, though, that copper's gonna be ours. Jim's gonna make Brian snap in half, thanks to the crippler crossface, and I'm gonna choke Kane out with the Taz mission, the Kamehameha. We're gunning for yous. Anyways, after that, it was Kofi and Miz, Intercontinental title rematch. Third time them two guys went up against each other in a little over a month. It was actually a pretty decent match. Miz actually showed some semi-decent wrestling moves, so couldn't argue with him. Extremely impressed with Kofi. Big thing that wowed me was the way he performed during the match, and in my opinion, after he has to drop the title, what they need to do is they need to make him go into the World Heavyweight Championship pursuit. You know, the man deserves a bigger title. After that, it was a match that I was extremely impressed with, because if you saw episode 1 or 2, I don't remember what one it was that I said that Justin Gabriel deserves a title shot. They gave him a title shot on pay-per-view. Justin Gabriel versus Antonio Cesaro for the U.S. title. Very beautiful match. Very good. Could have went either way. Happy for both guys. Both really good mid-carders. Impressed. Want to see them get farther. After that, they had Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio versus the versus the Primetime Players. I tend to call the Ray and Sin Cara team Ray Cara, and honestly, I really was not all that impressed with the match. I kind of drowned it out for a little bit up until Sin Cara wound up landing on his head and I thought his neck snapped in half. Glad to see it didn't, though. If you saw Monday Night Raw a little bit ago, you saw he was moving around. He was high-flying like normal. He was doing good. Glad to see you're doing good. After that, they had the Big Show vs. Sheamus match for the World Heavyweight Championship. The big thing that confused me and probably a lot of other people in that match was the fact of the match wasn't inside a Hell in a Cell. And if you rewind the clock to last year, Randy Orton wound up challenging Mark Henry for the World Heavyweight title inside, and it was a Hell in a Cell match. This year it wasn't. Halfway through the match, I figured they were going to do that. They didn't do a cell match because Ziggler was going to come out of nowhere, whack both guys with a briefcase, cash it in, win the title, and make a run for it. You know, something like that. But never did, so no biggie. In immortal words of Ziggler, whatevs. Impressed with on how the match went, though. Show actually wound up showing he can perform instead of just being a big brute that sweats like a pig and drools on himself. Match after that, it was a three-way dance in the women's division, and I call it the women's division because I refuse to call it the Divas, because anytime I say the word diva with wrestling, all I can think is you get some snotty woman going and wanting to throw a bottle of Merlot at someone's head or whatever. And I give female wrestlers so much credit and respect because they have to show that they can hang with the big guys and make just as much of a draw and earn as big of a pop as them. Anyways, it was a three-way dance. It was Eve, or as I like to call her on Twitter, Eve's Got Herpes, versus Layla versus Caitlyn. Match was pretty good, and they need to start showing matches like that on SmackDown and Raw a lot more. In fact, they can even make that like a big thing on Main Event sometime soon, preferably. You know, that way me and Wee Man got something to watch on Wednesday nights. Anyways, before I go on with the next match, all I can say is whoever wound up setting up the cards for what match goes on when, what the hell were you thinking setting up a World Heavyweight Championship match before a women's match? I want you to hit yourself really hard and then take a taser to your balls and then douse them with gasoline and zap them again so they're on fire because of that. Now to the main event, CM Punk vs. Ryback in a Hell in a Cell match. It was a decent match. I was pretty impressed on how Ryback performed. I already knew Punk was going to perform at top notch because when he goes and says he's the best in the world, he truly is. And if you don't believe me, go to a newsstand, buy Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and look at who they have ranked as number one for Wrestler of the Year. That is your proof right there. Now, if you saw Monday Night Raw, you would know Raw really didn't have that many decent matches. The two biggest shockers of the night was Beth Phoenix got fired and Mick Foley came out and started talking smack to Punk, and Punk said, since Survivor Series is coming up, why don't me and you have a traditional Survivor Series match? Paul Heyman wound up handpicking CM Punk's team, so Team Punk consists of CM Punk, Rogue Scholars, Miz, excuse me, and Alberto Del Rio. whereas Mick Foley's team consists of Team Hell No, Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston. You would think that Mick Foley would be competing in the ring also, since he's team captain. He's not. Ryback's taking his place, in which case that's just going to build up hype for them two are going to be the last two guys in the ring at the end, more than likely, which is then going to build hype for the TLC pay-per-view, and they're going to have a TLC match for that. If they do, that could be a great way to bring Brock Lesnar back, so that way they can make a stable. Anyways, that's about all the time I got for this episode, so look for me on Twitter at TimVicious. Make sure you check out my girl Roxy at Roxy's Room. Girl knows what she's talking about. Basically like me, except basically she does the same thing like me. Big difference between me and her, though, is she's a lot prettier and I got a lot more hair. And make sure you check out my partner in crime, the Rated R heel Jim Steele, YouTube's the JX2001, 2001, and with Twitter, JX2001. Yeah, like I said, we're the tag team champions of Twitter. We're not afraid to go and blast something if we gotta. Anyways, that's all the time I got for the show. Again, if you're on the East Coast like me, take care, stay safe. For the love of God, do what you have to survive. Pack an old shit bag if you need to. If you don't have one packed, start it now. Seriously. Pause the video or turn it off and go and pack now. I'm not fucking playing. Your life is more important than YouTube. That's it. I'll catch you guys when I can. I'm going to try and upload this soon. So, I'll catch you guys later. If you love me, great. If you hate me, fuck you. And yes, that's going to be my new thing now at the end of each show, since I tend to typically say fuck you and do this to a lot of people. So, that's all I got. Catch y'all later.